Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Oh Shoot. Today is a very special episode. We have a guest on the podcast today. I am talking with Taylor Sumner. She is a queen, an icon. I've actually followed her for so long, so I'm super excited that she's on today's episode. So Taylor, tell everyone hi and kind of like tell everyone who you are, what you do, and like a little bit about you.
Okay, hello. I am so honored to be on here. Okay, my name's Taylor Sumner. I am a photographer in Michigan. That's where I live, but I'm kind of everywhere. I guess I do weddings and elopements, but I just want to say I like photograph love, all of it. And yeah, that's me. That's the photography end of me, I guess.
Yeah, and you also are like, I would say you are influencer status because you have like photography, but you also have like your personal pages, which is part of the reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast, because I think it's so interesting how you like do both. So how did that kind of get started?
So actually I started my personal Instagram first. And it was just like an outlet just to like take pictures of like me and my husband and, just to have fun. And so I've always had that. And then I started photography and then obviously made this page and had to keep that. But then I'm like, you have to keep the fun in Instagram, So I wanted to obviously keep that personal page, like number one. And I think number two, when you're booking like a photographer or something, like you want to know them, right? And I want to be able to like have a spot for like someone to go and see everything about me, like what I'm about, and like, because, I like to have a relationship with people when we shoot. So I like to be friends. And like, if they know I'm like into the same stuff as them or whatever, and they get to peek into my life, like that just makes it even better. So I like to keep that Instagram around for that. And just to like step away from like the photo Instagram. Like I don't like to scroll all the time on here and like everything. So it's good to just go to the other page and just be like, oh, cute pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that idea of like it's almost like a little bit of a strategy to have like a personal account and a business account, because it does allow people to get to know you and like become your friend if they want to, but like they don't have to. And it's almost like a very extended version of like an about page on your website,
Right.
So I think I like that. I've never really thought of it that way, but
I know, like, because I do see, like, on your, like, because I keep, like I said, I don't really scroll a lot on my photo page, but there's a couple people's stories that pop up all the time, and, like, yours do, and I see that you do, like, what you're wearing and, like, cute stuff like that, and I'm like, damn, like, I need to maybe do that on, like, my photo page and stuff like that and show up more on here to show my face. But, yeah, it is cool to just, like, again, have the other place to just go away for a while, so that's why I like it.
Okay. I would love for you to tell everyone a little bit about like how you got started in photography, kind of like take us back the whole process and what it was like for you.
So I like I wasn't like into it in high school or anything like that. Like I didn't go to college. It's not like that super cute story, but I did have a friend that had like a family, so got family pictures taken all the time or whatever. And she got this camera like handed down to her, and she just like wanted to practice with me and like my husband, boyfriend at the time. And so we were always on the other end of the camera, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is so fun. Like even being on the other side. And so then like we just started trading, we would just like, I would do pictures of her and like she would do pictures of me and like creative fun stuff. And like, that's kind of how I got my first like little tiny Nikon, and I didn't always like do couples or anything like that. When I first started, it was mostly like I would put like a girl in like crazy glasses and like throw glitter all over, you know what I mean? Like so like 2016 vibes. And then, like I did like my first wedding, and that was it for me. I was just like, oh my God, I love everything about love and just like making the couples interact. And I mean, like I've been married and together with my husband for 10 years. So I just take that kind of and just, I don't know, I just love everything about it. So that's kind of how I got started with it being like a job, I guess. But yeah, I've always had like that weird, like funky underline of like how I first started. You know what I mean? Just like doing weird stuff. Because when I first started, I got made fun of so bad by people I went to high school with. Like, literally, there was people tweeting about me, like taking my photos and saying stuff. And I just like, I never care. You know what I mean? I kept going because I'm like, you know what I mean? I like what I'm doing. This is cool because like the people that get it, get it. And the people that don't. And you want to know what? Like, they don't even matter now. But yeah, so
That's horrible.
It's horrible then when you look back because you're like, oh my God, people are so mean. But I'm so glad I just like did what I did. Like, I guess what I'm referring to is that like I took photos in a laundromat like in like 2016, 2015. And like right now you're thinking, oh, that's cool. Like everyone does that, right? But like, and I'm not saying I'm inventing laundromat photos, but like I saw it somewhere on Pinterest or whatever. Me and my friends like got in the laundry, like got in the dryers and just took a picture, and everyone thought it was like the weirdest thing ever. And I'm like, you guys, like, this is cool.
Yeah.
But
that is so funny. Honestly, like, all press is good press, right? Like, if the photo's weird, like, your photo's still showing up in front of those people. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes you say things to kind of just, like, go with what everyone else is saying, but deep down you actually think that, like, it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like how kids are. I feel like adults can be the same way, where they just hop on.
Right. No, we were young, whatever, people say stupid stuff, they're impressionable. But like you said, if anyone's talking about it, that's good. And weird's cool, man. I like it.
Yeah, I agree. So for your, like, I guess, were you ever like part-time photography and then like going to full-time, or like how did that kind of look as far as like actually financially making photography like your full-time job?
Right. So, yeah, I worked at Applebee's for years. Like I would have to say like 3.5, 4 years. And that's where I was working when I like started doing all of this. And I mean, when you like, serving is like, it's a good way, you know what I mean? To like get your foot in the door, I'd have to say, with that, because I was able to make the money I needed to. And that's kind of how I was able to transition like into full time. I was just like, I'm saving enough money. Like, this is the time, you know what I mean? And I mean, like, there was like a specific turning point where like I was doing both. Like I was shooting on the side, and then I was like, so I was going to Applebee's in the morning, and I was leaving, and I was like going shooting like at like 4 o'clock or whatever. And like one day I had like a shoot, and they were like, you have to stay like longer. You know what I mean? Like there's tables coming in, whatever. And that was it for me. That was kind of like, what am I going to choose? You know what I mean? The thing that I love, the thing that I could really put something in and make something of myself, or am I just going to stay for these tables for these couple of dollars, you know? So that's when I was just like, okay, this is it. And I did it. And I put in my 2 weeks, you know, and that was it. But I mean, I'm not saying I had like thousands of dollars saved up, you know what I mean? Like that wasn't it. But I was like, this is it, you know? And it's kind of cliche, but it's like, if you want it, you're going to do it.
It's true.
You know? So that's where I was with it. And I wasn't like, I'm in a relationship. So I did like have that help and stuff. Like I want to be like transparent about it. So, but yeah, once I went full time and like with that, that was it for me. And like, and it's been ever since that. And it's actually been, 5 years, like literally this month.
Wow,
so
congrats.
It's been fun.
Wow, that's crazy. Thanks. It's funny because I feel like when you go full time, it's like, oh, I just need to make it to a year. And I feel like that's how I am. Right. I'm like, okay, let's just like do a year. And then it's literally like, oh, it's been 5 years. Like you've sustained yourself for 5 years on a job that you created. Like I feel like it's just so cool.
It's so crazy. Anyone that does anything from this, literally like give yourself like a round of applause, because like you said, you're like, okay, I'll just get to the next year. And then you're like, bye. Like you've made a whole business, a whole thing. And like, yeah, I cannot believe that it's been all of this. It's wild.
That's so crazy. For someone that is listening and is in a similar position that you were in, like, you know, maybe like working part-time, like hustling, serving, whatever. Yeah. What advice would you give to someone that wants to go full time but is kind of stuck in that like split moment?
I want to say like I have the perfect advice, but what I want to say is just that literally keep, like you said, hustling. You need to just like do the shoots on the side. You need to make it like to where you have just enough to sustain yourself. You know what I mean? I'm not saying go and like make yourself broke. Don't quit your job and like go and do this other thing. But like, you're going to have to like, there's going to be long nights. You know what I mean? There's going to be nights where you only get a couple hours of sleep because you're editing a session. You need to get up and go to work the next day. Like, it's not easy at all. And I know it's really hard to like maybe jump into a very kind of oversaturated career at this time. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to sugarcoat it. Like, I came into this like 6 years ago and it was, I'm not saying easier, but it wasn't all over the place. You know what I mean? And now when you get in, you're like, maybe, oh man, like, look at it was so easy for her. Like, no, it wasn't. It was a very big hustling time where I was bawling my eyes out a lot and I was hating going and serving for these people making, you know what I mean, not a lot of money, and then going to the shoots. It was a lot, but literally just get past the hump because the whole journey is worth it.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes.
You'll look back and you'll be like, that I'll do it over a million times over
It's
to
so
get to where I
true.
am.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a season for everyone to hustle. And I feel like sometimes we're not willing to actually put in the work to see like the end result, like the big picture end result. Like, you have to be willing to literally like not look at the clock and just get done what you need to get done. Like, you can't just shut off at 5, especially if you're trying to make something a full-time career. Like, you have to put in the hours. Like,
I'm not promoting like hustle culture out here. You know what I mean? I am saying there's a balance, but like, if you're at a point where like, okay, I'm here and I want to be here, then you got to do everything you can to like get to the next spot. Like, that means picking up the extra, like, dude, I would go in and then I would stay and I would pick up all of the tables just to get an extra $80. Like, you know what I mean? You just got to do it. And then, but when you're at the spot where you're comfy, then that's where you're like, okay, boundaries.
yes, exactly. Yes. Yes. You hustle and get work done. So then eventually you can have that comfy point in life where things kind of run for you. And, you know, you're not constantly seeking clients. Clients are coming to you. Like, that's what that time and energy does for you in the long run. But you have to put in the time and energy, you know?
Yeah, it pays off. Like, hard work pays off. You know,
yes,
so yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so I want to talk to you about your creative process, because when I think of like creativity, I feel like your photos are so creative and unique, and like you're just a very creative person. So I want to talk to you about like what that process is like, kind of get into your head a little bit. So I guess just like to start, let's just walk through, like, if I were to book a shoot with you, walk me through that entire process from like when I inquire all the way to like during the session. Like, just walk me through some of your main big things that you do.
Okay, so I'd have to say, like, everyone like inquire. I guess I'm just gonna go all the way through.
Do it.
Yeah, if someone inquires like through usually my website or Instagram, and I don't. Okay, so this is what I always say, like when I have mentor sessions and stuff. Like, this is not like a business transaction to me. Like, it's more than that. So like, I always just give them my phone number. Like, we'll email, and then I'll be like, okay, like, let me know anything. Here's my phone number. It's easier that way. So like, we're usually like on texting basis. That's how it is, and like, we'll figure out a spot. Well, they'll send me a deposit, contract, all of those like logistics, you know. And then we'll figure out location, and they'll like send me pictures of like their outfits and like everything. Like, I just try to put myself like in their shoes. You know what I mean? Like, getting your picture taken is kind of vulnerable. It's kind of awkward when you don't do it all the time. So I just want to make them feel really comfy, and like no one knows the right thing to wear. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I just want to make myself like available for them. And yeah, so then we'll talk about all that stuff. We'll meet at the place. And yeah, usually it's like anywhere. Like, I like to know if there's somewhere special to them, or like if there's like, oh, like we went here, we got engaged here, like, or blah, you know what I mean? We go here on date night. So that's a thing that I'll ask them. And so yeah, we'll go and shoot. And I don't like to put a time limit on stuff or whatever. So like, I'll say like 2 hours to give myself and them like a roundabout, but we'll just shoot until the job's done. You know what I mean? I always like to stay until the story is told. So that's what we do. And yeah, sometimes like we'll like chill for a little bit after, we'll talk, like whatever. It's like, and like I said, like sometimes I'll even just keep shooting. Like we'll be done and then we'll be walking back to the car and I'll be like, okay, wait, this is cool. Like it'll be dark and I'll be like, I don't care. Let's just do something. So yeah. And then I'll go home, edit some sneak peeks like within the next, I like to say couple days. Like I definitely don't like wait longer than a week just because I like to get them to them while the magic's still like feeling there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? While they're super excited. I know, I mean, like I've gotten my pictures taken a couple times and I've been like, come on, where are they? Like, you know, not like that, but it's to my friend. But I'm just like, you know, I'm so itching to see them. And then, yeah, so, and then I'll upload them. I use Pixie Set if that's something that needs to be said.
Okay. Yep.
And yeah, there we go. Shout out Pixie Set.
Yes.
I've used PicTime too, but I don't know. Pixie Set just seems to just be so smooth for me. I just love it. And it's easy for like on the other end of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, they get their gallery and they're able to just use them and do whatever they want with them. And yeah, I don't really have a lot of like rules or like anything like that.
Yeah.
Like I show up, I take your picture, we're friends, you get them, you love them, you know?
Yeah.
And
I like how you focus so much on the experience. I think that's like, as you're explaining this to me, that is what's very like obvious to me is like, you're asking the questions that need to be asked, but at the same time, like, you're very like fluid with it. Even like the fact that you are not like checking the clock, like after 2 hours, you're like, peace out. I'm out of here. We're out of time.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I think that's a really important thing as a photographer. I know everyone has like different business approaches and stuff, but
Right.
I think like photography, like you said, it's so vulnerable and personal that you kind of have to approach it more as a person to person thing and not as a business to person thing, unless you're running a business where you have like multiple associates and stuff like that. But it really is like small business to person, like just being very personal about it. And I think that's a really key part of the creative process.
Yeah, if that's your vibe you're going for, then that's what I suggest doing. Like I said, and that's what I love about the photography world. There is literally a spot for everybody. Like if that is the type of photographer you want to be, where it's like, okay, I'm getting in, getting out, I'm booked, you know what I mean? Then do you, girl. I love that for you. But like, I'm over here and this is how I'm doing my thing. And it's how it works for me and my people. And I love it. So yeah, it just feels, and you want to know what? It doesn't put pressure on me too, because they know me. And this also kind of backtracking back to having my personal Instagram, like people follow me on my photo and my personal, so they know what's up with me. Like if I'm going through like something, they know I'm going through that. And like, we can, you know what I mean? Yeah. It just makes it so much smoother. And like, I know if they're going through, it's just like, I don't know. It makes it so much more like you're giving your friend their pictures and it's just like so fun, you know? Yeah. So it's just how it feels for me.
Do you find that with like the actual posing and the actual capturing of the couple themselves, like the photos are impacted by that approach of like, we're friends, like, you know me? Do you think that impacts the final results of the images?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I have literally people tell me, I'm not exaggerating, every single shoot. Like, I'll come into it and they're just like, they are a little bit nervous at first if they haven't shot with me before. They're a little bit nervous at first, but after like the first interaction with me, they're like, oh my God, I'm so comfy. Like that's what everyone says. And that's why I want everyone to feel that way. So like, if we've been texting or talking or whatever, if they know me from social media, they go into it maybe just a little bit nervous if the camera's in their face, but like us being together, like it's comfortable. So they're able to like do what I tell them and look, you know what I mean? Like look right at me and like it not be weird, because it is weird to just meet a stranger and just be like, okay, look right into my camera. Yeah. Like it's just awkward. But no, I think it makes the end photo results so much better because they're just comfortable. You know what I mean? Like that, just the boundaries like go down a little bit. And yeah, but this at the end of all my sessions, people are just like, oh my God, I was nervous, but just like you made it so much better. And I don't really know exactly what that means, but I just have to think it's just the personality and just the way I approach it. Yeah. And another thing, like I've always like laid myself like down in the position or put myself in the position or like grabbed the girl and been like, okay, I'm the other person. And you know what I mean? Like showed them exactly physically like what I want them to do. So it's comfortable too. Okay. Cause like you can be like, all right, do this. And they're like, I don't know, that doesn't really seem like right, you know, until they see it. So yeah, it's just about I think just getting in there and just being you.
Yes. So since you're talking about posing a little bit, could you talk through a little bit more about how you like to pose your couples and maybe some of your favorite poses and a little bit of like your posing approach when it comes to couples?
Yeah. So I'd have to say, because I read through the prompts, like my top 5 ones, so I was thinking of that. Because like I try not to be like, okay, I'm like a poser, you know what I mean? But you do have to put them in the initial pose and then like go from there. So that is what it is. But I'd have to say like running, like a little holding hands running situation. That just like, it's always weird, but it's good to like get that out of the way first things first. I think it makes them a little bit more like laughy.
Okay.
And like I love like you know, stomach to stomach, nose to nose, foreheads touching. I just like getting all cozy like that because you can go so many ways from there. And then I guess like right from there, like probably just like kissy all over the face, like just, you know what I mean, like from here all the way over. Like I just think that brings out a lot of laughs from there too. And I'm all about the laughs, like in my pictures. I love the emotion coming out. And then, okay, I always like to get them on the ground some way, shape, or form.
Yes.
I just think it brings a lot of like variety into the session too.
For sure.
And the last one probably is like picking up of some sorts, like piggybacking, like legs wrapped around, you know, something like that. I always think is super fun too.
Yeah.
Just anything to get him moving, I think really is what it is.
Moving and laughing. Like those, I feel like those are the 2 key things. Like you can have a couple like do the straight face and whatever, but I think like the laughing part of it is something that is not like you can't replicate that. No. And that's why I think sometimes Pinterest is a little bit of a dangerous place because we look at it and we're like, oh, I love how candid this feels. And it's like, well, it's candid because it's like them. So
it's literally real.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that those types of poses, like the movement or like when you go from stomach to them, like, oh, kiss all over the face, like that is going to result
the in-between moments is what it is.
Yes, exactly. And I just feel like that is very like, that's a really good piece of advice for like someone that is just struggling with posing. Like the movement is what's going to give you the candids. Like,
yes, it really is. Yeah. Cause you'll like, and here's another thing with like the running and stuff like that. So I've always started with like, you know, hold hands and run, like, but then you go from there. Don't even always have to have them touching. You know what I mean? Like create like a movie scene in your head, you know, like have them chasing each other rather than like running together. It just creates a different scene. Just look at it a different way, you know? And I think yeah, I'll have couples and it'll be like perfect. You know, you'll have the perfect like holding their hands, but like when they're running together and like laughing and falling over, like that stuff is like what I'm looking for, like the messiness, I guess.
Yeah, I like that idea of like creating like a movie scene in your head. I feel like that's actually exactly what photographers do. We just, instead of taking videos, we take photos. Like
literally, yeah.
Like
I love
you
it.
plan the location, you plan the outfit, like you literally are the director. Like
yes, and everyone's just their own character.
Yes, it's so true.
It's so
oh my gosh, it's so cute. Oh, I'm emotional. So let's talk about being stuck in creativity. So we're talking about creativity, but when you feel like you're stuck in a rut, what would you say are some of the things that you do to help you get unstuck?
I think I want to say, like how I said earlier, like stepping away from my photo Instagram. There's just a lot. Like there's just a lot. That's it.
Okay.
Like when you scroll, you're just taking in so much content from so many different people. There's so much advice. There's this, and it's just like a lot for your head to take on. You know what I mean? And it's good to just step away and just realign with yourself and be like, what am I really here for? What am I really doing this for? And I think also getting out there and shooting for fun. That is, I think, so important too. That's why I think like content days are really fun and important. It's because you're just meeting other people and you're doing it for fun. And like literally call your friend and be like, hey, do you want, like, it's raining, do you want to go out and take weird pictures in the rain? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are like 2 things I think that just like recharge my brain. But I honestly, I don't want to say that like it's my business life is perfect, but like I've kind of created a business life for myself, where I don't really get in a rut much anymore. Like I love every single thing I'm shooting. Like, so I just feel like every single thing I go into, I'm just like, it's a new story. You know what I mean? Like you just gotta, I don't know. It just comes with time. But yeah, when I do get in a rut or I'm just feeling like seeing the same crap over and over again, I just take a step away, recharge my brain.
Yeah. I think you made a good point about just like setting up your business life to a point where you almost don't get stuck in ruts anymore. Like you know, like the type of clients that you like to work with. Like it's a two-way street when you're booking. Like you're obviously they want to work with you, but like at the same time, like you have to make sure you want to work with them. And I think that helps you avoid a little bit of that rut because I don't know. It could be different. Like if you shoot wedding after wedding after wedding, like I would say like eventually you do feel like you're stuck in a little bit of a rut. But strategically then like book a few like engagement shoots in between, you know, like I think it's
switch it up.
Yeah. It's about just kind of like knowing what causes you to be in a rut in the first place. Like everyone's different.
Exactly. It might be a mindset too. Like you said, like, and that kind of brought something back to my memory. I made this in my caption last year, or maybe it was 2020. But anyways, I got asked a question at one of the weddings I was shooting. One of the women there, she was just like, do you ever feel like you're just doing the same thing every weekend? And I was like, I mean, I guess, but I've never thought about it because like I literally set up my mind to where like every single wedding, because I mean, I do shoot weddings every single weekend. And like recently, they have been like in different locations, but I have been to the point where like they've been, you know, in the same type of environment every single weekend. So it is like kind of the same thing, but you just go into it and you have to just like bring your own creativity into it. You know what I mean? Like shoot the details a different way, like make the dress fun. Like, you know what I mean? Take the girls out and do something fun with them. Like it doesn't have to be like cut and like copy and paste every single time. You can definitely make it fun. Yeah. That's what you're supposed to be doing, right? Making the experience fun for people. Yeah. So I just say like, shake it up, like bring some champagne for the people to spray. You know what I mean? Just make it fun for yourself.
No, it's so true. Like you might be the reason you're stuck in a rut, like truly. Like, yes, shaking it up. I love the idea of bringing like a prop or just like something different, like having them lay down, like, or just asking them like, do you guys want to sit? Or do you guys want to like drive to this spot? Or like, you know, just something that's
what's different. The worst they could say? No, like it's, and more than likely they'll be so down for it and they're gonna be so happy like that they did it. Like, so you might as well just do what you're thinking.
Yes, I love it. So let's talk about a little bit of your gear. So what are some of your favorite lenses? And like, if it's not a lens, like a go-to item that you are constantly finding yourself like gravitating towards when you shoot.
So gear-wise, I am pretty simple. I only have like my two bodies, and then I have a 35 millimeter lens that sits on my one body that I'm going to be honest, I never really touch. Like it's there for me on wedding days when I need it, but I shoot with my 24-70 literally every time I pick up my camera. Okay. It's just been what I love. And I know a lot of people, I see so many people on Instagram being like, should I get the 24-70? Like if you're listening to this, I would have to say rent it and use it for like a weekend, like shoot like for fun, shoot like an engagement or something, and then shoot maybe like a wedding a little bit with it, do whatever. And like you will love it and want to purchase it, but definitely rent it first. But that's what I have. Okay. And that's really like all I use as far as that goes. But I have prisms that like I legit cannot live without. I love them. Like actually right now, well, I just bought a new whole pack because right now I only have one left of the 3-pack because I just literally used them all the time. They broke, like they got scratched. Like I love them so much. Okay. They just bring such a different like artistic approach to your photos. Like they bring little rainbows into it and like they like double the people. It's just so cool. Yeah. And it's so, they look weird though. Like I'll have them at weddings and they look like brass knuckles and people are like, wait, what is that? I'm like, don't pick it up. It's fine.
They do look very weird in person. Like it's like, literally, what are you doing? Like, you know, like those people that like squat on the floor and take photos from like crazy angles. Literally. It's like kind of the equivalent of that.
That's how I feel. It's a little cringe,
but the result is good for sure.
And speaking of cringe, another thing that I cannot live without, like from this year, is like the pantyhose over my
Really?
lens. I can't live without it. I love it. It's my staple, and I'm not gonna say that I took it, so I am gonna shout out the person that I saw use it for the first time. Her name is Photos by Gail on
Okay.
Instagram. She is amazing. I did a shoot with her, with me and my husband, and she used it, and I was like, wait, I need this. I love it. And now I just have it all the time. So like, then again, another cringy thing, just a literal pantyhose hanging off this end of my lens. But
Okay.
definitely try that if you're listening. If you like go to my page, a lot of like they look like kind of vintagey vibes. I don't know if that's the word for it, but yeah, you just put like a pantyhose over your lens and go to town. It's fun.
Where, or I guess like what brand are your prisms? And then what brand of pantyhose do you use?
So for the pantyhose, literally just go to Walmart, and they're just like they're not like the one that go all the way over like leggings. You know what I mean? They're just going to be like little sock ones.
Oh. Yes. Like to try on shoes, like those ones, right?
Yes, those. Okay. And then I actually have the brand of my prisms right here. So on Amazon, they're called Fractal filters.
Okay.
And they're a 3-pack. They're $130. Like, it seems like an investment, but that's what we got to do, right?
Yes. So I just got this filter for my lens. Like, it goes over top of my lens, and it's a star point filter. Have you ever heard of those?
No.
They're like, literally, like, it looks like a grid. Like, it's like it actually looks like a grid on the lens, but then like the photos end up looking normal unless there's like a very bright, like, area, and then it gives you little like star points.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
You know what I'm talking about? Like when sometimes like in a photo, like something's like sparkling.
Yeah, so it's going to be over the like the light part. Yes, I totally get what you're saying.
Yes, and I used it literally one time. I used it, and I am already obsessed. Like I'm just gonna like keep this on my lens forever. Like I don't care if you don't like it. Like I'm sorry, it's
no reception photos. Are you kidding me? So cute.
Yes. So I just love the idea of this. Kind of goes into the creative rut like area that we were talking about, but like the idea of getting something to kind of switch up your shooting style. Like I have felt like for the past like 2 years, my shooting has been kind of the same. Like I changed things up a little bit, but I think like getting something like a prism or a different lens filter or using pantyhose and just like trying out something new, like that I feel like is just so, it just like lights a fire, you know, and you just like,
it really does.
The creativity is back and the passion is back. And I think that's what's like so fun.
It really is. Like I remember I started shooting with like slow shutter, and I was just like so obsessed, you know what I mean? And it brings another like artistic like thing to the photos as well. And it's like, yeah, I remember when I first got the prisms, because you know, like the detail photos of a wedding day, they're beautiful, they are, but sometimes we're in like a not so beautiful location, right? So using the prisms around those detailed photos, like when I maybe like in some like not so cute hotel lighting, like that has like stepped it up, you know what I mean? And so yeah, just little things like that, like slowing your shutter, like maybe like, and I honestly don't even know if how I slow my shutter is the right thing to do. I just started messing with my camera one day and things started happening. So like maybe start doing that. I don't really know.
Just start pressing buttons and I hope that everything turns out. I love that. I feel like this type of stuff just takes your photos from like average basic, like, yeah, they look okay. And then it turns it to like, oh, she's creative. Like, ooh, like she's an artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I literally switched my bio on Instagram today, or like not today, this year, from photographer to artist, because I'm like, what I'm putting out feels more than just like pictures.
Yes, you're like, I am an artist. Like,
yes, ma'am.
Give me the title I deserve. Okay, we're gonna talk about social media now. Okay. Because not only do you slay the photos, you slay the social media game. So, I guess for your social media accounts, talk me through like how you initially grew your accounts when you were first starting your Instagram.
So my photo page grew first, and that kind of just, I don't even know. I don't know how it happened. I want to say I did some crazy stuff, but I didn't. I guess I did a little bit. Like, I just started traveling a little bit more for work. And then once you start traveling a little bit, you tag those locations, some people out there see you, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got tagged in like dirty boots and messy hair a few different times, and like authentic love mag. So I would have to say, like, tag up those like feature accounts, because that has really helped me like get my my account out there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I there's nothing crazy like that I did. I think I just like literally fell in love with what I did. You know what I mean? And like, I was just putting out bangers. And when you put out bangers, like, they just get featured. Like, but that's literally what happens. Like, I wasn't always obsessed with what I was doing.
Yes.
Like, I wasn't, like, for the first, like, literally my account grew 3 years ago. I've been doing this, like I said, for 6 years. Like, so it wasn't always like that. Like, I just was really putting my heart and soul into it. When you put your heart and soul into it, like, it's going to be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, but I would have to say, like, maybe like the tagging of the feature accounts and just like finding accounts I love, interacting with them, like commenting on their stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like, message the people back, like, show your face, like, those things, like, those are what's going to get people to show up more to you. Like the little cliche things. But as far as like the big initial grow, I would have to just, I don't even know. But yeah, to keep going, you just got to like keep showing up and like be consistent, which has been hard for me lately. I have not been consistent. So if you go to my page, you're gonna be like, what's happening? What are you saying? But I promise that's my advice.
Yeah. That's good advice.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
really that's it.
That is, yeah, I would say that's great advice. And I literally just forgot what I was going to ask you. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
It happens to all of us. I literally don't remember anything.
Okay, well, it'll come back to me. Oh no, I do remember what I was going to say. I was going to ask you something. I was going to add a little point. The concept of like just having good content. You like said, I put out bangers. Like, and first of all, we can acknowledge, yes, they are bangers. But like, I honestly feel like people think so hard about social media. Like, it's about the algorithms, the hashtags, the cover photo, the blah, blah, blah. While yes, sometimes that stuff is important, truly what it boils down to at the very end is like, is the content good? Like, is it content that actually is worth looking at or worth watching? Like, at the end of the day, like, that's what it is. Like, is it interesting?
This is your portfolio.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, essentially, like, put out what you're proud of.
Yes.
Like, literally.
Yeah. So I think like a lot of times, like, we just don't have to overthink it when it comes to social media. Like, just focus on creating quality content. And I really feel like that can take you far. Even if your social media doesn't grow, I can guarantee it's going to get you bookings, because people notice if your work is quality and if you are putting out bangers, you know?
Yeah, they're going to your profile and they're seeing, like, that's what people are doing. Like, when people are in, like, literally this morning, I just read a inquiry. She was like searching Instagram forever and ever. Like, that's what she said. Like, people are going from account to account and literally just like, I'm not saying, but they're comparing account to, that's what they're doing. Like, so this is your portfolio, put out what you're proud of. And I do want to like say another thing on there. Like, you're not obligated to share you're not obligated to share from every single thing you do. You're not obligated to, you know what I mean? You can put out the thing. Then that's not saying that you don't love everything you're shooting and you're not proud of it. I love and I'm proud of everything I'm doing, but I don't need to put on my Instagram every single thing. I'm going to put on there like what I want my story to be, like what I want my portfolio to be. So like, and that's just what it is. If that's what you're focusing on and that's like what it is, then that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think sometimes people just want to seem like busy and booked. So that's why they're just posting everything. But in the long run, like you said, social media is your portfolio. Your Instagram feed is a first impression. So like, treat it like that. Don't just post whatever you get. Like, make sure it matches what you want to be shooting in the future.
Yeah. And if you're putting out something that you love, like let it have its time on there. Let it have its week. Let it be loved by the people. Let it be seen. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want. I hate when I like, so like I went forever and ever and ever without posting. I came back and I put out something I love. It was a beautiful story that I put out, and it wasn't getting the love that I wanted it to get, because like it's just something that needed to be seen. You know what I mean? You need to let your like photos and your art be seen and get the love that they need. So like just give it time and like, yeah, put out the things that you like want.
Yes. Yeah. And if something doesn't get good engagement too, like as long as you love it, like if you thought about that post and you thought like, oh, this is going to look really great on my feed, like who cares? I feel like potential clients are not going and like clicking on each individual post and being like, how many likes does this have? Oh, this only has, 3 comments. Like literally people are not doing that. I think people are looking just at the grid as a whole and maybe clicking and swiping through, but not necessarily paying attention to those numbers as much. So like if you love it, put it out there.
Exactly. Keep it. Like,
yes.
like I said, my last post, it got so much smaller than like likes than anything else. And I don't even care. I kept it because I love the story that is told in the post.
Yes.
Like that's it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. So, as far as your 2 different accounts go, how have you been able to manage both, like posting on both at the same time? Like, yeah. Is it easy, hard? Like what's going on?
It's hard. I want to say like, oh, I manage it so well, but I don't. Like there is nights where I'm literally on the floor of my shower, like taking a shower, like, and just making a scroll for my Instagram feed, like literally, because like, I'm like, okay, it's been days. Like I have to get something in. Like I find this. So like, I want to say I'm managing it well, but like, I'm not. I'm just like everyone else. We're running our asses off. You know what I mean? Like we just try to get it in when we can. But, no, I do like my photo or my personal page. Sometimes that takes precedence to me. Like, I'm not saying it does. Like, I make no income off of that at all, but like, that's my fun space. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said earlier, like sometimes I like to just take photos for that or do whatever. And that's my everyday life on that. I come to my photo page when I have like, when I need to show up for my business. You know what I mean? I need to like keep 2 different, it's not just one thing. Like I want to keep them 2 different parts of my life. You know what I mean? But yeah, as far as like the posting and stuff like that goes, I just try to like get it in when I can. Like sometimes I'm like literally at a reception, like, when you're eating, have nothing to do. I'm like, okay, like this is cute. Let me get this in real quick. I haven't posted for a few days. So I try to manage it, but I can't.
I think I was just talking to someone about this, but for me, the hardest thing is not like prepping the content. It's physically posting it.
Yes.
Like for some reason, like Instagram, TikTok has made it so difficult to like do anything ahead of time. Like you have to basically post everything in real time, which is so challenging. I mean, except for like actual carousels and stuff, but like for me, that's really challenging because I just like, it slips my mind. Like unless you're setting reminders for yourself, like I literally find that it's like, I dread like 11 o'clock, which is when I usually post. Like I'm just dreading that time because it's like, I have to go every single day and physically, it's just, for some reason, that's the hardest part.
It's a hard part. It's hard to keep up with that because like, I mean, just from my personal experience, like I used to have to rely on posting every single day to like get my content, to get my name out there and stuff. But now it's like I'm still working without having to post all the time. So sometimes I'm just like, oh man, like I do have like an Instagram I have to keep up with. You know what I mean? So it is hard. It's not, I'm not saying like it's not easy. Like I'm not perfect. Like sometimes I go weeks without posting, but again, it's because like I'm busy. If I'm not posting, it's because things are happening. I'm getting shit done, girl. As you should.
Okay. I think the last thing I want to talk to you about, I didn't put this on our notes, but I feel like it popped in my head that you would be a good person to talk to about this. Travel. I don't know why I didn't think of this when I was creating your questions, but like you are also the queen of travel. So I guess like kind of just share like your experience of like getting booked for travel, kind of how that works. And like, if you would have any tips for someone who also wants to get into destinations and travel, just just go. Just
Okay.
do it.
Okay. So, I would have to say, like, my advice is that, like, oh my God, it's going to come for you. You know what I mean? Like, it will come. Just be patient, because I remember, like, 2017, I got an inquiry for, like, whatever, something. I was booked and I couldn't go. And I was like, oh my God, it was, like, so sad. Right. And I was like, it'll never happen again. I'm just going to give you my story time. So then how I booked my first one. So in 2018, I had someone inquiry for me, like a Punta Cana wedding, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, I am booked that day. Like, I am so bummed. Like, I can't do it. And she was like, okay. And like went on her merry life. And you guys can judge me for this if you want. That's fine. This was years ago. But I booked a family friend, which I don't do those anymore. Those are just, it's just like weird to me, you know, but this was years ago. I booked a family friend and I went to my mom and I was like, do you think she would be like upset if I just like told her the circumstance and like set her up with like another photographer, whatever. And my mom was like, don't do that. Like, she was worried about herself, which I have to say, do you, girl. Don't worry about what anyone else is going to judge you. You make your own business plans. So yeah. Anyways, I ended up staying with the original wedding I was going to book, because that's just what my gut told me to do, right? My bride reached out to me a couple months later and was just like, or no, I'm so sorry. My original bride ended up canceling that I stayed with. She canceled her whole wedding. Oh. Okay. So it kind of was like, I was bummed. I was like, I missed this opportunity because I ended up sticking with my gut and like whatever, what my mother told me, whatever. And so I went back to the Punta Cana wedding, told her that like, hey, I'm available now if you still need me. She literally said, we booked a resort photographer. And I was like, oh my God, my life's crushed. She came back and she told me, but we still want you. Like, we're still going to have the resort photographer and you. So like, let's do it. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. So I just like I shoot my shot and I did it. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. I did it and I got my first one and it was a freaking nightmare. Like, okay, I love this bride. Me and her are friends. So like, whatever, she'll listen and she'll laugh. But it was a nightmare because I missed my flight. I didn't miss my flight. My flight got canceled. No. And yes, my flight got canceled, you guys. And they put me on the next flight, obviously. This was out of my hands. Yeah. The flight getting canceled. But I got put on the next flight and I did get there after the ceremony. So I missed the ceremony, which was out of my hands. My bride was not upset. But we got there and she was like mostly worried about like portraits. You know, that's what she wanted, like fun portraits. So we got in the water, we trashed her dress and we did some crazy stuff. And ever since I posted that wedding, and it was, I'm telling you guys, the craziest thing to get to. I just, started, people saw like, okay, so she does this. She'll go here for this. Okay. Like, that sounds fun. Like, maybe I want to do that too. And like, people sometimes think like, oh, a destination wedding and bringing your photographer, that's crazy talk. But like, when they see it being done, they're like, wait, that's not crazy. Like, when I go to weddings now, like I had a wedding this summer in Pennsylvania and one of the grandmas was like, you're from Michigan? Like, that's wild. And I'm like, it seems so wild, but like, it's not when you're like deep in the wedding world. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I just got my first destination wedding and like I posted photos from it just over and over and over again. And I would tag the location. And like I said, I would tag feature accounts and like, I would show people like, this is what I do. This is what I can do. Like, I can go anywhere you want me to be. Like, and well, like once you get one under your belt, you get another one. And then kind of, this is just like your personality now, you know? So I mean, in my first wedding too, like I did a cheaper pricing to like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes that's what you got to do. Like sometimes you have to cut the pricing in half to like get what you want. Like so I just hustled to that point and got that. But the travel, if that's what you're wanting, like I would say like literally go on a road trip, go to Florida, go to California, or like take a flight, go to California, stay there for 6 days, find some people on Instagram, shoot them, post them. And then literally like people will see that that's what you do. Yeah. Like it's not crazy for people to want to like go to California, get their engagement pictures done and take a photographer. Like it could happen for you. So just make it fun.
I feel like if there's any vendor that someone's going to fly out, it's a photographer because that's like, oh my God, the most personal, like the most unique part of your wedding. So yeah, don't like feel like no one's going to do it, because people do it all the time. People are flying me everywhere. Like, it's just like, if they want you, they will get you.
Exactly. Because like there's like I said, there's a spot for everyone. So there are those people where like they care about photos so much, they will do anything. Like, that's on the top of their list. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's important for them, and they'll take you. Yes. So I just have to say, like, yeah, as far as getting your foot in the door for it, like, you just gotta like go to those places and maybe shoot for free. But like, when you're shooting for free, make it fun, make it what you want. Yes. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Style the whole shoot, like conduct the shoot, like, so you're in charge, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I literally just did a road trip last March, and for that exact reason, like, booked shoots along the way, like told everyone what to wear. 'Cause I was like, yeah, I'm getting booked for travel, but I want to get booked more. So like, let's go and let's do it. And I honestly, a lot of my travel has been just me going someplace personally and then booking shoots while I'm there, like, just from people hearing about it. And obviously I have like a big audience, but like, you never know who has a cousin in, I don't know, Arizona, you know, like, you never know who's watching your story that knows someone in that area, you know?
Exactly. And that might be another reason to like have another account. You know what I mean? Like, I have my personal, like, me going on trips, like on my personal page, I'll post it and people will be like, oh my, on my personal page, like, you're going to Florida? Like, I want to shoot. And I'm like, so that's another, like, you know what I mean, place to get like bookings. So that's another way.
Yeah. I like this combo. I like talking about travel. It's going to be exciting to travel.
Yes.
Let's wrap up, because this is a great convo, but we're hitting the time limit here.
I know, 50 minutes. Holy crap.
I know. So go ahead and tell everyone like where they can find you, follow you. At this point, they're probably deeply invested and they need to know.
I love that. Let's be friends. Okay. So I have Instagram. It's Taylor Sumner Photo. And then since we've been talking about my personal one too, it is just Taylor and Sumner. They're both linked on each bio. And I have a website. It's just taylorsumnerphoto.com. And yeah, it's under construction, so I guess don't go there right now because it's not very cute, but come back soon. And yeah, that's where you can find me, you guys. And yeah, let's be friends.
Cool.
This is so fun.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on today's episode and sharing all of your knowledge. This was great. Yeah. And thanks everyone for listening. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.